Hi everyone, this is another video in our series of syringe filter videos. So we have noticed there are a lot of different membrane types and sizes of syringe filters. We have been recommending this one for most peptide reconstitution, which is a PES membrane. It's 0.22 microns. That's the pore size, and then the diameter is 4 millimeters on the membrane itself, which comes in this round housing here. So there are a lot of other sizes and membrane types that are available. We like the PES for the high flow rates and the low protein binding, which means that you are not going to have your peptide get absorbed by the filter itself. Um, and We like the 4 millimeter size just because of the amount of peptide that gets effectively like stuck in this housing right here. This is the 4 millimeter. Some other common sizes are 13 millimeter, 25 millimeter, and then 33 millimeter, which is this guy. And you can imagine that after filtering, you're going to have a lot more just liquid with your peptide in it stuck inside of this housing instead of inside of this housing. So, yeah, in our internal test, which we'll be publishing soon, they will show that this, after filtering, holds about 0.07 milliliters inside of this housing afterwards. The next size up at 13 millimeter holds about 0.28 milliliters, and a guy like this would hold somewhere in the neighborhood of 0.67 milliliters. So if you're only filtering, say, 1 milliliter through, this would end up holding 2/3 of your entire solution. So one of the things we've been wondering is how much peptide will go through a filter before it clogs. The way these filters work, even though the pores are smaller than, I'm sorry, the size of a peptide is smaller than the pores in this. Essentially, what happens is it's almost like hair in a shower drain. At first, it will go through, but eventually it starts clumping together and builds up, and then the clumps start clogging whatever the medium is. In that case, it would be a drain, but in this case, it's the filter. So all syringe filters are going to be subject to clogging at some point. This type of filter rated across this 4 millimeter PES 0.22 micron filter is rated on average for about 1 milliliter or less of filtration, but that is across a wide variety of solutions that you might run through it. So what we want to do today is reconstitute 4 vials of tirzepatide so that we can get a real world feel for how much will go through that filter before it starts clogging. We have done some previous tests that weren't exactly real world tests, but used things like activated charcoal and cornstarch to see what we could get through the filter before it failed. But what we'd like to do on this one is do some real world testing with actual tirzepatide. So the first thing I'm going to do is reconstitute each of these vials with 1 milliliter of bacteriostatic water. So I'm going to go just a hair over here. Okay. And then try to get exactly a milliliter in each of these. Oops, a little bit of drip there. I'm using a big needle just to make this super easy to reconstitute and quick for the video. So we'll probably end up going back and getting just a little bit more just to try to even it out. Now we're down to 1.5. Okay. Okay. Because I used such a big needle and had a little drip, I'm gonna go back in. Normally I would not stick this dirty needle that's been in those vials back in this bacteriostatic water vial, but I've got it clearly labeled for experiments only, so I'm not too concerned about it. I want to go in and get my last full milliliter here. So I did a poll on my Discord to see what the average amount of backwater most people diluted their peptides with, and 1 milliliter turned out to be sort of the sweet spot for most people. So now what I'm going to do is just let this stuff sit for a few minutes and completely dissolve, and we'll be right back to continue this experiment. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. I let everything dissolve really well. So now I'm just going to draw the contents of each one of these vials into this syringe, and then we'll put the filter on and see how it does here. All right, there we go. We're at pretty much exactly 4 milliliters. So now we'll just remove the needle. We'll put on the filter, and let's see how this does. Compared to some of the other stuff we've done so far, this is pretty easy. The cornstarch was the worst. It clogged it up pretty instantly. Okay, they were to 3 milliliters. It's not really even that much harder. I'm pretty sure we're going to pretty easily get 4 milliliters through this. So there we go. Yeah, that went through no problem. So that was 4 milliliters of tirzepatide. Push through with no problem. Some other peptides may be more viscous, or I know that some are prone to cloudiness and gelling, and that may be an issue. But as far as tirzepatide, and molecularly, most of the GLP-1s are pretty similar, so that should be no problem to get at least 4 through there. If you get much beyond that, it may be worth considering a 13 millimeter filter. But I'd say 4 or 5 of just a GLP-1 shouldn't be any problem. If any of you guys want me to test a specific one, if you want to send something in, if you've got an old bad sample, which is actually what these are, my people on my Discord server were very kind, and when I put out a request, they sent in a lot of sort of bad testing peptides. So thanks to you guys, and I guess that's it for now. Thanks.